The Philippines has long been known as one of the world's top outsourcing destinations, but today something bigger is happening. We no longer just supporting the global businesses, we're starting to shape them. From finance and analytics to AI and complex back office operations, the Philippines is evolving into a strategic value hub. But here's the real question. Are our talents, strategies and expansion strategies evolving just as fast as the opportunity? So in our first episode, we talked about diagnosing organizations before you scale. Now let's take that conversation further. If your organization is ready to scale, where should you scale? And more importantly, how do you build the right operations and workforce to sustain it? So joining us today is someone at the forefront of this transformation. He has been instrumental in positioning the Philippines not just as a BPO destination, but as a global capability powerhouse. So please welcome today Jack Madrid, President and CEO of IBPAP. So Jack, it's really great to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me. And this is going to be a very timely conversation, I think, on this topic.
I hope so. So I have here, let's start it off and see where the conversation goes. So we're seeing the Philippines move beyond traditional roles into high-value functions like finance, AI, and analytics. From your perspective, what's driving this shift? And more importantly, what must HR leaders start doing today to build talent that can deliver in the highest of standards in our environment?
That's a couple of questions there, Sarah.
I always like to make it start difficult.
But first of all, again, I couldn't think of a better time to be talking about talent strategy, because talent strategy is no longer just an HR topic. It is actually a topic that affects how competitive we are as businesses. And as you know, the IT BPM industry in the Philippines has grown to over 1.9 million digital workers, generating over $40 billion in economic value. So it's a very big industry, and it's a human capital intensive industry. And so this topic is really quite timely. What we have built in the BPO IT BPM industry over the past several decades was very much labor arbitrage at scale, given the demographics of the Philippines. We've achieved quite a lot, but in the age of technology and artificial intelligence, we must shift our mindset from labor cost arbitrage to what I'd like to call capability arbitrage. And that is the heart of what everyone's talent strategy should be. And we need to deliver this to all our global customers who have now helped the Philippines become a world capital in BPO and hopefully emerge as the next GCC hub, much like what India has managed to achieve.
Indeed. And that's a really strong point to make about the AI coming in, because I think it took years to get to where the Philippines is now. But I think AI is definitely going to push not just the Philippines, but everyone forward faster. And I know that's one of your advocacies when you talk about, continuous learning and being able to put that message out. So where do you think, though, some organizations might be getting it wrong in preparing for this more higher value complex roles?
Well, I think sticking to practices of the past is probably not the right way to go, I would say. An over-reliance on past experience. I've observed that many companies still hire based on what was done and maybe That may still work. That strategy may still work in stable environments, but today's environment is far from stable. And given the
Right.
fast pace of technology, I think I would not recommend sticking to past strategies. So I think we also need to view training and talent development um, as a business strategy, and not see training as a standalone activity of the L&D department. I think a talent strategy is a business strategy.
You mentioned just earlier that it's not just an HR problem, it's the business
Absolutely.
problem as a whole. So we can't now just rely on the HR team to deliver. It has to be a strategy.
It's
across
more than an
all
HR
leadership.
program.
Yeah.
I think we need to view learning and talent development as the growth engine itself of the company.
I like that you say that it's a separate business model. That's very, or a separate business in the learning and development, which is really interesting. So as we step up into the more complex, high value work, obviously the real challenge is to scale. It's easier to put together a small team, but it's then harder if you suddenly need to do 20, 40, 100, 1,000, as traditionally we used to do. So we can't rely on the same talent pool. So for you, what initiatives could the project Unlab, which is aiming to scale to 270,000 additional learners, how do you see the HR, the firms and the companies supporting that? What's the best way for them to get involved?
This is quite complex, because what I've seen a lot of BPO companies do is really looking at recruitment and hiring on a quarter to quarter basis, because obviously they have ramp targets.
Budget.
But if you view talent strategy as a business strategy and a growth engine, we need to think a little bit longer term than that. More than hiring for this quarter or next quarter, we really need to be thinking about the capability gaps that we see in the next 1 to 2 years, instead of this quarter to quarter.
And going
focus.
back to the colleges, universities, going back that far?
No, I think
Or
we need to analyze capability gaps first. Align on the talent profiles for the new work types that we expect from our customers, and then take these learnings to the other stakeholders, including the universities, so that they can adjust curriculums on the go.
I had that in another conference I attended, where they were talking about that the universities need to catch up with the jobs that they don't even know exist yet, and that they should also be doing this kind of
But the
investment.
private sector and the employers need to help them.
Yeah.
Because
they can see what's coming.
Exactly. I think this is one point in history when all stakeholders really need to be unified and work together, because speaking for my industry, there's so much at stake. And I think if we want to retain our market share, I think we all need to really be acting in unison.
Yeah. And that's a really powerful shift. And so how important, you talked a little bit about how important it is for organizations to rethink how they identify potential, not just experience. How is that going to be part of this kind of massive shift that needs to happen?
For many years, companies have been hiring in a zero-sum talent pool, meaning we're all trying to hire from the same limited pool of job seekers. But that model is not going to work anymore today. If what we expect to be in higher demand will be higher complexity work, the answer will not be limited, or will not simply be about working harder or competing harder for
For
talent, for securing talent.
these positions that are coming forward.
I think ultimately the answer, again, this is for all stakeholders, the answer will be to expand and transform the talent pool itself. And that is a massive amount of upskilling and reskilling. And that is why, the programs that IBPAP is working on with TESDA and with the DICT are very, very important.
Because I think also TESDA now, I think in the last few years, people may not know how much of an improvement TESDA has now. They are online, they are technology, they're not just the traditional brick and mortar trainings that I think most people understand they are. And I love the fact that IBPAP has the partnership with TESDA, understanding what they can do for organizations. Can you see that growing, that partnership growing, and TESDA becoming more and more at the forefront?
Well, they've been increasingly very responsive to the needs of the digital sector.
Yeah.
Traditionally, they were set up for the industrial manufacturing sector, but now, given the strength of the Philippines in the services sector and the role of ITBPM, I think they recognize, wow, that industry, we need to support the ITBPM industry.
Absolutely, I totally agree, and it really resonates what we're also seeing on the ground. At Q2, we've been working with organisations through what we call smart hiring and assessment for performance, and also led by hiring duo. We call them Jenny and Shelley, our assessment tools, because technical words don't resonate with the normal person. So it's a more structured approach where we go beyond resumes and use data to help us hiring. From your perspective, how critical is that shift with initiatives that are going along as we move forward?
Well, I think again, alignment between all the stakeholders, employers, the academe, our partners in government, we must be aligned in agreeing on what job-ready skills actually look like before we design training programs. So these skill pathways need to be very much aligned by all of us, and we work on it together.
So part of IBPAP, obviously a lot of your members, or most of your members, come from overseas. It's going off piste a little bit. Are you seeing that the overseas market still sees the Philippines as a key place for their strategies for growth or starting a business?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're a very solid number 2 in terms of ITBPM and the global capability centers to India, and will always be. And that's not a bad place to be because we're only number 2 because of the population difference. But clearly India has strengths, as do the Philippines. And I think, one thing I can say, even as of today, there is still more demand for talent than the available employable talent. And so this whole upskilling and reskilling process is really critical.
I love how you say that, employable talent. There is a lot of talent in this country.
Yeah, we have the demographics, we have the numbers, but we need to increase our conversion rate. We're still only hiring between 10 to 15 out of every 100 that we interview. That's not
changed over years.
So we need to push that up, especially with the higher complexity roles that we're all expecting.
And I think also for the population out there, the talent out there also has to take some of that ownership on themselves as well, and look at where they need to also upskill.
This is actually what keeps me up at night, Sarah, because I think, and this is something I say wherever I go, I think job seekers, students, the existing workforce, we all need to take personal responsibility for our lifelong learning journey.
Yeah.
And that is it. We cannot rely on the government, on our employers to skill us, we need to commit to that learning journey.
Yeah, there's only so much a company can do for you. But I think any company or organization, especially those that we work with, if someone in their organization wanted to take extracurricular or wanted to do extra, they would be very supportive of that. I know we are, for people who want to go out and do MBAs or technology or AI, we're absolutely supportive of that. And I think everybody would be. So I love that as a takeaway, that it's, yes, there's the government, yes, there's organizations like yours, IBPAP, and then companies like ours who support, but at the end of the day, each individual needs to also step up in this changing world. So thank you. As we wrap up, I have a couple of key takeaways just from that, because I love that you are pointing to not just organizations, and that also self-awareness, self-growth is still absolutely number one. Focus on the potential, not just the experience, because the world is moving forward faster than the experience is happening at the moment. Because those that start early will lead the way. And so thank you for joining us today for those insights. As always, it's a pleasure. Hopefully see you at the next event for IBPAP. Don't forget, you can follow Q2 on our social media pages. You can follow Jack Madrid, also has his own podcast, which I can tell you are great. So definitely check him out on LinkedIn mostly. I think I see you mostly on LinkedIn. And thank you for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And thank you, Sarah, for the opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.